Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Eagles podcast. Tuesday, hi to Bo Wulf, Zach Berman on the scene at Gillette Stadium. We're looking out on an empty football field. Behind us is the practice field where the Eagles and Patriots had the only joint practice of the summer for the Eagles. Zach, you have called it the most important day of the summer. How did it go for you?
I enjoyed it. That was fun. I wish they were doing 2 of these. I wish we were doing 4 of these this summer. You learn more about the Eagles during these sessions than certainly you do in the preseason games. And even, practice. Training camp's good back at NovaCare, but you're seeing the same players, the same looks every day. So this gives you a sense of where the team stands. And now this isn't like going up against a Super Bowl contender. I think the Patriots are in contention for the number 1 pick next year.
Wow, shots fired.
But overall,
lean a little bit closer.
Sorry, lean a little bit closer. I don't want to get too close. I just had that rice. But no, I learned about the team today, and there's so much to talk about. I got notes on notes on notes on notes,
and they're all bound together in the same notebook, which is nice. Yeah, I think listen, it's one practice. You don't want to overvalue or overstate one practice, but it is helpful context in the guessing game of Bryce Huff has to go up against Lane Johnson every day. If he's not having a great summer, does that mean that he hasn't been playing well, or does it mean he's just going up against Lane Johnson? The secondary has looked so good. Is that just because the Eagles don't have a lot of depth at wide receiver? We can get to some of those things. But for today, I watched mostly the Eagles defense against the Patriots offense. You watched mostly the Eagles offense against the Patriots defense. I will give you my main takeaway, and then we can get into some of the specifics. But for me, the Eagles defensive line dominated the Patriots offensive line. And I know that this is not a particularly great Patriots offensive line, nor a deep one. But Bryce Huff, who I talked about, actually had a very good day, which was encouraging to see given the fact that he's gone up against Lane all summer and hasn't made a ton of plays. Nolan Smith made a bunch of plays in the backfield. There were a couple periods where Jalen Carter was just dominating, and it was like against Michael Onwenu, who I believe is the Patriots' best offensive lineman. He was just dominating. Jordan Davis had some good plays. I actually thought this was Marlon Tuipulotu's best day of the summer. I thought Moro Ojimo had some good plays. It was really like to a borderline drill ruining degree at some points when they were going full team action. The Eagles defensive line really dominated.
So I'll give you my quick offense takeaways, and then we'll dig into it. I thought this was the most Kellen Moore-ish day of the summer. You saw a lot more of the creativity than certainly you saw in the preseason game.
Interesting.
Now that was before the snap, so I'm borrowing an EJ Smith take here because he had this tweet. EJ, he summed it up well. Like before the snap, it looks like Kellen Moore. After the snap, it sometimes looks like last year. And the reason I say that is
that's interesting.
It's still a lot of AJ and DeVonta, which it should be. Now, where I push back on this is I didn't see as much downfield stuff today, right? And maybe it's just when I think of these joint practices, I think back to Cleveland when they were going downfield often. Mm-hmm. Remember that? A.J. Brown was making those catches against Greedy Williams, short-lived Eagle. So that stood out. But I would say the offensive line did not play as well as I anticipated them playing. There's varying interpretations of like how much or how often Jalen Hurts was sacked. There were times but he was under pressure. I can tell you that. There was definite pressure in there. Also, the other thing I'll add is that I really didn't think there was as much room to run as you would expect. There were a lot of running plays, and the question there is, does Saquon get yards after contact in that situation? But it's not as if there were these huge holes for him to navigate.
Interesting. Now, one other thing that I would say is I do believe that, like, if you look at this Patriots roster and some of the guys who were making plays today, this should absolutely be a scouting trip for Howie Roseman in adding to the wide receiver core. The Eagles have 2 wide receivers who are better by, significant degrees than anybody on the Patriots roster. But I feel like the Patriots' next 8 receivers are all better than Johnny Wilson and Britton Covey.
So who's the guy they should trade for?
Tyquan Thornton is, beating Isaiah Rodgers in one-on-ones and in the open field. Jalen Reagor made a play over Keely Ringo today. It's it is very much clear, I think, that watching these like younger Patriots wide receivers, that they have guys who they can't all make the team. They seem like they would be upgrades for what the Eagles.
What's
have.
interesting there is the Patriots are probably bottom 5 in the league overall at wide receiver, because they're
right. They have they have this level.
Yes.
Where it's like it's Kendrick Bourne and KJ Osborne and Javon Baker, who is impressive, and they're not going to trade him. Jalen Polk, who I thought was good today, but then Demario Douglas, Tyquan Thornton, like one of those guys, Bourne, Osborne. I don't think it's going to be Rager. Thornton or Douglas, I think, would make sense for the Eagles.
Okay. Tyquan Thornton, former second-round pick, right, out of Baylor. So draft pedigree there.
You love that.
I think there's he has speed, that's for sure.
I mean, so does John Ross.
So before we get into
Paris Campbell.
And by the way, John Ross had a real good day today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, John. Now, there was a drop later in practice, but John Ross had a high volume day. There's a lot of Ross. There's a lot of Ross in the notes today.
That can't be good.
I just want to tell at the top here from a transaction perspective, Cooper DeJean, taken off NFI, worked out in individual drills, and he sounded like it's realistic that he can play in the third preseason game. So, and
we talked to him after practice. He said, his expectation is still to be working at nickel and corner, because those are two different things, as Vic Fangio explained.
Two total different positions.
Yes, but not necessarily safety. He said it's been frustrating. He didn't confirm nor deny that the injury was sustained in a weird way. He said it was while he was working out, and sticking to the story. We'll see. But yes, he's
I don't even know what the insinuation is.
We've already been over this. Yeah. So yeah, I think he'll be back as a full participant by the middle of next week.
So something to monitor there. Elsewhere on the injury front, Paris Campbell back at practice on a limited basis. Grant Calcaterra remains sidelined.
So does CJ Gardner-Johnson.
There
you go. All right. Where would you like to go next, Zach? You want to tell me about what kind of day Jalen Hurts had?
Yeah, I thought Jalen Hurts was fine today. Still not throwing interceptions, right? I thought that there were some real good passes in there, but there were times when he was under duress, and that's not necessarily on Jalen. That's more just kind of adds to the overall composition of it. The first period of 7-on-7, there were 6 passes there, and 4 were to AJ, 2 were to DeVonta, and that was kind of indicative of how a lot of the day went in the passing game. I thought that I thought Jalen was good. I didn't think Jalen was exceptional. I've seen better Jalen days, but I didn't think it was like a bad day from Jalen.
I think I would say that in general, I was a little bit underwhelmed by like the competitive nature of this practice as one practice. This is the only one the Eagles are going to get. Like, there really there wasn't that much move the ball action just at the very end. It wasn't like, wasn't all in front of the team, so it wasn't as
they didn't have everyone comes together.
Like, if this is the most competitive period and thing the Eagles have all summer, pretty underwhelming, don't you think? I mean, they were warming up for like 45 minutes today.
Yeah, there was a lot of individual stuff where I'm like, they could just do this at NovaCare. They didn't have to come to Foxborough for this.
Yeah, I mean, we could have done 2 of these.
Yeah, so actually, before we get into these specific practice, let's just look globally here, because I hope we're not meandering. But this is worth pointing out that in previous season, they've had 3 to 4 joint practices. Players even remarked on this. They're used to coming and doing 2. Gerard Mayo said before practice that he thinks 1 is sufficient, because he thinks the second day is when you see more fights. Teams go back, things linger from the day before. Things
you watch the tape, you're like, this guy was doing something dirty, or like the coach is reaming you out for like, this guy kicked your ass. What are you going to do about it tomorrow?
Yes, exactly. Nick Sirianni said that because they had a game on Friday last week, and then this game's Thursday, they didn't really have a lot of time between games to do 2 of them, do 2 joint sessions. And
not sure I buy that.
And then typically, by the way, they do with 2 different teams. He said he doesn't like doing it before the first game. Nick Sirianni said this. He doesn't like doing this before the first game because not everything's installed. And they can't do it before the 3rd game this year just because they're playing in Brazil. and that game's on a Friday.
Yeah, that's the one I really don't buy.
It really messes up their schedule. So this is the reason I'm bringing this up is what Bo just mentioned. Like the 2 hours today is the most competitive work that the offense is probably going to get all summer, right? And Nick Sirianni can tell you that they'll do stuff in the stadium that's almost scrimmage-like, but still, you're not getting the effect that they've had in the past. And Nick, by the way, has placed a premium on joint practices in the past. So only having one, especially in a year when you have a new offense and a new defense, it's an interesting choice.
What do you make of that?
I don't love it. I like joint practices. I think if you're not going to play your guys in the preseason, you should get this work into joint practices. I think you learn more about the team for the reasons that you mentioned. There are times when you watch an Eagles practice and you say, to use the example you gave, is Bryce Huff struggling or is Lane Johnson that good, right? So then you see Bryce Huff go against a different right tackle and you can say, all right, Bryce Huff's good. Lane Johnson's just that good. There are times when if, Johnny Wilson is having a good day, or let's say protection. If the Eagles are holding up in protection against different looks, is it a look that they're familiar with, right? When they see these unfamiliar looks, when they see this Gerard Mayo defense, does it present different challenges than what they would typically see in a game? I'm sorry, in a practice.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I think we will have no way to know what impact it makes, but I think it's a little bit disappointing. It's a little bit underwhelming.
I would like to see more. Sure, I'm always in favor of more joint.
Do you think that this means that maybe the starters will play at all?
No, I don't.
Okay,
I don't. I think that the first time you see Jalen Hurts play in a game is in Brazil.
Okay.
In Sao Paulo. In
Sao
Paulo.
Antonio.
No, in Sao Paulo.
Antonio.
Sao Paulo. So that was my quick takeaway with Jalen. I'll dig into my notes more. I did think he remained efficient. There were a few times when there was one slight miscommunication. There were times when he was under duress. He had to tuck the ball a bit, but I thought overall he was getting rid of the ball. He was operating within the offense. There were things they were doing to devise guys open. There was a nice wheel route to Saquon Barkley.
Saw that one. Yeah, that was nice.
Left sideline. There was a
nice completion to DeVonta and it seemed like that was an unscripted play. Like that was not the original intention of the route. And then he saw that DeVonta, there was no safety deep, and he just while he was scrambling, he floated it deep. It was a good little indication of their rapport.
Good observation. Look at you. You're able to watch the defense and give keen insight.
Well, I was up high. I was going bird's eye view for this practice. So I got to see a little bit of everything.
Bird's eye view. I like that. And then there was a pass to AJ in the 2-minute drill late in the late in the practice when AJ caught it and then kind of got down on his knee. They didn't get another play off, and AJ thought he scored a touchdown. I asked him about it afterwards. He was like, yeah, they weren't going to tackle me there. So that's why he didn't go back to the line of scrimmage. Mm. But that was a nice play.
Did it look like a touchdown to you?
Yeah, they weren't going to tackle AJ Brown there. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But overall, I know Bo's going to roll his eyes when I say this because you need to give more high level analysis than this. AJ Brown, DeVonta Smith are the focal point of this offense, and
no doubt
that was most evident today. I didn't think Johnny Wilson had a particularly good day. I thought that of the down the depth chart guys, John Ross was the wide receiver who stood out. I think you won't just see that from me. You'll see that from anyone watching the offense. John Ross was a volume player today. I thought that there was a lot of Will Shipley in the offense. You saw 21 personnel. I certainly hope they're not wasting all these 21 personnel snaps in practice. If they don't do this in games, it's like, why are you doing it so – no, but they're doing it so much in practice. That's my point.
Do it now so that you don't waste it in the game.
You saw the orbit motion in play today. Yep. And then there were times when they would do it on a running play to clear a linebacker out, kind of misdirection there, and then hand the ball off.
What did you think of the Patriots defense?
I thought they were good. I thought they were real active, especially at the line of scrimmage. Christian Gonzalez was a tough corner. One-on-ones. He had a real good rep against AJ in one-on-ones.
Several of the Eagles players on offense were gassing up your boy Jabril Peppers.
Well, ball knows ball, right? Jabril Peppers is a legit player in the league. The Eagles could have and should have signed him a few years ago.
I mean, I have nothing against Jabril Peppers. He's been on the Full Sentence All-Stars many years in a row.
That's why you have nothing against them. If you go back and you watch our free agency breakdowns from 3 years ago, people would say otherwise. You thought I was improperly gassing up Jabril Peppers because he's a former first-round pick and Michigan.
That sounds about right.
And Michigan standout and captain of positionless football team.
Yeah, but that's why he's succeeding for the Patriots, because he has a position. Yeah.
But maybe I just like Jabril Peppers because he's a darn good football player and he's built the right way.
Like, what does that mean? Legs and arms and
torso
and head?
No, he has competitive toughness, a competitive zeal that I think enhances the team.
You love a competitive zeal.
I do love a competitive zeal. When it's manifest, when it's channeled correctly, it can yield very productive results.
What other zeals do you like?
Well, I like zeal in general. I think it's important to be zealous. I think, there's a stage in high school when you try to be like too cool for school. You know what I mean? And I'm not interested. No, I think zeal's good. You want someone who attacks each day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
Like zeal Parmesan.
I'm not selling that one.
How was your choo-choo ride yesterday?
It was good. I wasn't feeling great. But no, it was good.
Why, are you sick? You gonna get me sick?
No, not that. I will.
Swig of water. Here we go.
No, it was a good ride.
What were you? Why weren't you feeling well?
I guess stomachache. That's all. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
No, I was fine. I mean, I trust me, I didn't use the facilities there. I just didn't.
Wow. Here we go.
But no, it was an easy ride. I got in at 9:30.
By the way, have you noticed? Speaking of the bathroom,
I walked to the. I walked to the hotel. Got to the hotel at 9:50 and worked out great.
Speaking of the bathrooms, have you been to the bathrooms up here?
No.
There's no soap.
Is there hand sanitizer?
No.
Oh.
There's just 3 sinks.
Yeah, I haven't noticed that.
There's no soap.
Sorry.
People don't wash their hands in New England. What's going on? Bobby Kraft is spending all his money on Dave McCormick. He doesn't have enough money left over to buy soap.
Well, we're all the way up here in New England. People want to know about this practice. We don't need to be talking about the soap.
I mean, that's disgusting.
I want to hear about the defense because I heard the defense dominated.
Well, before we get to that, I'm going to tell you about our friends at Z-Biotics. Because if you are in a situation where you're around a bunch of people who aren't washing their hands correctly, you might need a little bit of a boost for your immune system. So I have to tell you about this game-changing product that I have been told to use before a night out with drinks. It's called Z-Biotics or Z-Biotics pre-alcohol. Let's face it, after a night with drinks, I don't bounce back the next day like I used to. That is true, and we can get to that. I have to make a choice. I can either have a great night or a great next day. That is until I found Z-Biotics pre-alcohol. Let me tell you, if there's a surefire way to wake up feeling fresh after a night of drinking, it is with Z-Biotics pre-alcohol. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking, and here's how it works. When you drink alcohol, it gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It is this byproduct, not dehydration, that is to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you will feel your best tomorrow. Vacations, weddings, birthdays, and reunions. Celebratory softball championship outings. Ooh. There's so much going on. Get the most out of your summer plans by stocking up on pre-alcohol now. Go to zbiotics.com/PHLY Eagles to get 15% off your first order when you use code PHLY Eagles at checkout. Pre-alcohol is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/PHLY Eagles and insert the code PHLY Eagles at checkout for 15% off. Thank you, Z-Biotics, for sponsoring this episode and our future good times.
And then I want to tell everyone about our friends at Ace Hardware, because Ace Hardware is the place to go.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Oh, I know that well, because you could have a leaky pipe, for instance, and at Ace Hardware Home Services, they're around the block with everything you need to fix it, including the person doing the fixing. If you have an air conditioning issue, they got a person for that. It's kind of like knowing Big Dom. He's got a guy. If there's a faucet that you said you'd fix last fall, they got the person for that too, because they're not just the helpful hardware folks like Bo just mentioned. They're also the helpful home service and repair folks. From plumbing to heating and cooling, we've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long at Ace Hardware Home Services. We're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love, from the store now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware. Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get you started on your next project.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the depth chart rotations on defense. Linebacker continues to be in flux, sort of a period to period. I think they opened up today in 7-on-7s with Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond, and then when it was team drills, it was Devin White and Nakobe Dean, and then there was a later period where it was Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and Zach Bond. They continue to rotate these guys. Even Brandon Smith got a little bit of time today, more so than I have seen lately. At what point do you want to see this begin to get settled?
Yesterday. I mean,
Wow.
yeah. No, honestly, after the second preseason game, you hope this separates you hope this has some separation. My guess is next week they really start preparing for the Packers. So I don't think you're going to want as many unknowns about the roster going into the third preseason game.
And to be fair, today I thought that most of the linebackers played pretty well. They were very forceful against the run. Zach Bond had a couple plays when it seemed like he overcommitted to the outside. There was one play in particular where it would have been a big run for Ramondre Stevenson because Bryce Huff had set the edge, but Zach Bond was expecting it to not be set and tried to come outside, and then Stevenson had a big hole up the middle. Nakobe Dean had a nice play in the back of the end zone in a red zone drill where he knocked the ball out of the tight end's hands, and then it went into Zach Bond's hands for an interception. Trotter Jr. had an interception that closed the drive on an play that had an offensive penalty anyway. That was a nice play. He caught the ball cleanly, good read. And then Devin White was active coming downhill, showcasing he's the best athlete of that group, no doubt about it. So I thought it was an encouraging day for the linebackers. We can get to the secondary in a little bit. It was not the best day for the secondary. But
now with the linebackers, do you feel like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Do you feel more emboldened in your take that he's in contention to start early in the season?
I don't feel more emboldened. I called it. I was correct. I'm the soothsayer. What do you want me to say?
If I say the over-under is week 6, the Michael Dunn game.
That he's a starter?
Yes.
I mean, I guess I would probably take the over, but I think that's about right.
I actually think it's week 5. Yeah. Week 6 is the bye, I think.
Okay. Super chat from Fresh Prince. He says, I'm sending the super chat because I want to hear more about soapless bathrooms. So Zach, will you be willing to go pee in that bathroom after the show?
I mean, I'm probably going to have to at some point today. So yeah, I'll pee in that bathroom. And
what's interesting is actually in a lower level,
I have hand sanitizer in my bag.
A lower level in this stadium, I peed in a different bathroom during practice, during a special teams drill. And that bathroom it was the family bathroom, the family one had a soap dispenser that did not work.
So you think they're against big soap here? Maybe Jason Kelsey's involved.
Yeah, that's possible. I don't think Jason Kelsey is against hand soap after using the bathroom.
I know. I was trying to find an Eagles tilt to this conversation.
Yeah, I think there's more of a craft tilt here that we could explore. But
did you see your buddy Robert today?
I did not. Did you?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Of course, you sniff at those billionaires anywhere you can see.
No. I watched practice and I saw the owner of the team on the sideline. Yes, it's not sniffing out. You probably heard the helicopter come, didn't you?
I did. I saw the helicopter land.
Yes.
That was at the end of practice, I thought.
Yeah. Well, who do you think was picking up?
Fair.
Okay. Yeah. Robert Kraft was.
It's got a big Fanatics logo on it. the helicopter.
He came over to see Dom DeSantis.
Did you see Adam Schefter's tweet that Michael Rubin knew C.J. Stroud was going to be good before anybody else in the world?
I did not see that. Was he on Adam's podcast?
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, I know C.J. Stroud's been involved in the criminal justice reform movement, so no, it's very personal to C.J. Stroud.
Okay.
If you're familiar with C.J. Stroud's story,
Michael Rubin remains an evil man.
Well, honestly, we're here covering practice. I don't have much to add there. I did see Robert Kraft though. I saw him say hello to. Did you tell
him he was a hero for going to the Tom Brady roast?
I did not talk to Robert Kraft. Honestly, there was a legend in the house though today. I don't know if you saw.
Well, I know that there was a legend in the house.
Why?
Christian Ellis was all over the place today.
No, I was referring to actually someone who has repeatedly cited Bo Wulf in his columns, and that is Peter King, the iconic Sports Illustrated / NBC Sports writer. Was there at practice today. I shook his hand. It was a little stage fright. But yeah, I wanted to say, hey, Bo's up there. If you want to compliment any of his stories.
Well, I mean, Peter is awesome and responsible for a lot of good things in football journalism. But I think even he would say that, his legend pales in comparison to Christian Ellis. And
did you get a chance to say hi to Christian?
Your boy, John Ross, I think you're gassing up. You think he's a family man. The scene after practice today where Christian Ellis is with his family and he's holding one kid and he's got his wife and another kid and he's chopping it up with Zach Bond and N'Kobe Dean and Brandon Graham. Yeah, I wonder what the Zach Bond conversation was.
Caden Ellis with the Saints?
I was thinking that, but I was also thinking it was a polite way of saying I can't believe they gave you my number.
Okay.
But yeah, very nice scene. These guys, and then you know what? Most of the other players who had family here, they said goodbye on the field and then went their way to the locker room. Not Christian Ellis. Christian Ellis carried his son all the way up the hill. The man had just practiced football. His body was exhausted. He goes up the hill with the baby, puts him in the stroller, and then, only then, with his family safe and secure, does he go to the locker room. That's a family man.
I'm not gonna weigh the merits of what it takes to be a family man, but was he humming the Disney song?
Wasn't close enough.
Okay, because if you guys remember, Bo,
the restraining order will not allow me to get close enough to hear the hum.
Well said. That's a good one. Did you notice anything about Christian Ellis at practice today?
There was an interesting play with Christian Ellis. This was the only little minor kerfuffle that happened today. It was during a kickoff period, and Christian Ellis, I actually didn't notice that it was Christian Ellis at the time, laid a big hit on Isaiah Rodgers as a returner.
Yes.
And knocked the ball loose.
I didn't realize that was Christian too. Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
And so then
I heard the sideline chirping. And
so then on the very next play, from what I could see, Kenny Gainwell wanted to lay his own wood to get the Patriots back for that level of violence. And I think put in a little shoulder to somebody, and then EJ Jenkins and someone from the Patriots who I do not know got into a little bit of a pushing and shoving match, and everybody circled them, but it was pretty mild.
I saw that. That was actually the second close call this practice. There was a little dust up on the offensive side. Jordan Mailata finished a block, brought a Juwan Bentley to the ground, I believe, and they got up, and there was a little bit of a dust up. They went to their corners and carried on to the next play.
Mm. Who do you think would have won that fight?
I would take Jordan. I would take Jordan Mailata.
Okay. All right.
You did ask Nick about the fighting before practice.
Yeah, just what the rules are and what he told the team. He said we don't expect to have any fights. I told them this is our only good work of the summer. Let's not ruin it. Now, Gerard Mayo had a different rule. He said for anyone who gets in a fight who's a starter, they have to play the entire preseason game, and if you're not a starter, you don't get to play in the preseason game.
So wait, I'm sorry, say this
again.
The
punishment is if you get in a fight,
yeah.
If you're a starter, you have to play the whole game.
Okay.
If you're not a starter, you don't get to fight for a roster spot. You don't get to put anything on tape.
Because there's this old Chris Long story where it was before joint practice, and him and Kyle were let's get in a fight so we get kicked out and don't have to do it today. So
yeah, I think it's kind of I don't know. It's not that bad. Let him get in a fight.
Why?
if that's what they're feeling, like this is their one time to really get competitive, better than against your own team, right? This is maybe this is camaraderie building. Maybe this is team building.
You don't fight in a game, right? It's 15 yards in a game.
Well, it's not a game.
You get ejected for a game. Practice the way you play.
It's not a game.
I don't know why you need to fight.
I'm not saying you need to fight. I'm just saying let them fight.
Yeah, I'm not with you there.
You think that's why the Eagles were bad at the end down the stretch last year? Is because Jason Kelce ran over Zaire Franklin in August?
I don't think that's why they were bad. I think correlation does not suggest causation.
Okay. Also, big loser energy from the Patriots to be playing Drake during practice today.
I didn't even know that was Drake. What makes it loser energy? Is Drake a loser?
I mean, yes.
Okay.
He lost famously. He's like the loser of the summer.
I did not know that. Yeah. I mean, I know about Drake May. Did you watch Drake May today?
I did watch
What did you think of Drake May today?
Well, first, let me tell you that Ryan has a super chat. He says, Nick is the only coach Jalen's had who hasn't had success outside of Jalen. Doug won a Super Bowl. Lincoln has 3 quarterbacks drafted number 1, and Saban won with Tua. Could this affect Jalen's respect for Nick's X's and O's?
So, Ryan, I appreciate the contribution to this, where I kind of take I disagree with the premise of the question in that Nick hasn't had a quarterback other than Jalen. So Nick, like by definition, can't have success with a quarterback other than Jalen.
Fair.
He was an offensive.
Did go to the Super Bowl with him.
Yeah, he was.
That's with Jalen, but
he was an offensive coordinator before. He was a quarterbacks coach with Philip Rivers. But I recognize what you're saying. I think the X's and O's chops has more probably to do with Jalen wants answers, right? And last year they did not have answers. So if you think there was a lack of respect, as was reported in that Tim McManus story, then it probably had to do with the offense not providing sufficient answers.
Okay. Drake May, I thought Drake May looked fine. The Patriots offense, they did not have much of a chance when it was team drills because of the offensive line getting dominated. Jacoby Brissett had an okay day, but not a great day. There was a one period in particular where there were 3 passes in a row that were sort of not entirely accurate and from behind guys or just like way over guys' heads. And then the long completion to Jalen Reagor over Keely Ringo was actually sort of like a lucky accident because the ball, I think, was supposed to be thrown to the outside and Ringo broke on it and would have been in position for a pick. But instead, the ball floated up higher and Reagor was able to get behind and catch the ball. So I did not think it was a great day for Brissett, who I know is Sirianni's boy.
They are boys. Yep. Do you think Drake May should start in New England based on what you've observed?
I mean, if they can keep him upright, I think.
That's the problem.
What are we waiting for?
I also, though, I did not watch as much of the Patriots offense, like we've been saying. I've been watching the Eagles offense. I don't think that the Patriots should have been as aggressive for Brandon Ayuk because I get the point of getting a number 1 receiver. I just think they have a lot they need to work on, especially their offensive line. I wouldn't be giving up valuable draft picks.
Yeah, it would have been a weird trade for them to make.
$34 million receiver. That doesn't, to me, I understand the point. If you have a young quarterback, give him a number 1 receiver. I get that, but I say give him a great offensive line, and I don't think they're there yet. I
mean, I do think that a wide receiver of that quality would make a big difference for a young quarterback, but just from a roster building standpoint, the idea of giving up like real draft capital, I think, that is a little bit odd.
Yeah. What else on defense? I have some more offense notes. What else on defense?
Yeah, so I could go through the notes in one-on-ones, and we will have the much more specific breakdown of everything that we saw in practice today on allphly.com with sort of the one-on-one breakdowns and stuff like that. But I do think that the Darius Slay had a good day and broke up a couple passes in the secondary, but for the most part, especially in one-on-ones and in 7-on-7s, the secondary struggled a little bit to cover both the tight ends and the wide receivers on the Patriots. I thought Jalen Polk had a good day.
Your boy, you liked him coming out of
Washington. And I also like Javon Baker, who also had a good day and made a couple plays.
You and Elliott Wulf are kindred spirits in drafting wide receivers.
So far. Was that supposed to be a dig?
No, it's a compliment. I'd like an Elliott Wulf.
Why?
Bright guy.
Based on?
What I've heard about him?
Okay. What have you heard about him?
That he's a bright guy.
Reliable source?
Yes, very reliable source. Yeah.
JL?
No, not JL. Not JL.
Okay. BB?
No, not Bill. No.
This is funny. We got to mention this. When Nick Sirianni's press conference was over this morning, before practice,
I saw this on Twitter.
As he was walking away, a peckish teenager in a Patriots gear said, "Hey Nick, Bill's going to take your job next year," or something to that effect. And to which the Eagles PR staffer whirled around and admonished the young man.
He did? He admonished him?
I believe so.
I think Nick's gonna hear worse this year, right? I think Nick can take it. Number one. Number two, from a Patriots perspective, I don't understand that dig. That's like my ex-wife is going to my ex-wife's gonna do what? Like take your I'm trying to put this.
Go ahead and finish it. Let's find out where it goes.
You say my ex-wife's gonna move into your house next year. Or some, I'm trying to think of what the comparison would be. Like Bill Belichick's not the Patriots coach.
Yeah, but it's a good dig because you're saying the guy who was bad enough to get fired here is still going to take your job. That's how bad you are.
Gotcha. Yeah, if I were Nick, I would just laugh it off. I mean, look, if Nick wants to, I shouldn't say he wants to keep his job. If Nick's going to keep his job, he needs to win games. It's within him and his team's control.
Okay.
I did want to ask you, I meant to bring it up on yesterday's show. We have these practice reports on allphly.com. As I said in our Discord, by the way, if you're a Discord member, right now we're really devoting a lot of our writing to the practice reports because this is the time when we're the eyes and the ears for you. Once practice ends, we'll kind of geared more toward some of the features and analysis. Right now, it's much more practice observations. But in the comments section, Brett said, Bo and Zach, you guys. No, Brett Hauer. Bo and Zach, you guys have been watching Eagles practice for years. Legitimately, can you count how many times you've seen Lane Johnson lose a rep of one-on-one since he entered his prime? It seems like he just never loses, which is impressive considering the drill favors the defense. And I said, good question. I'm going to ask this to Bo on the show.
I actually asked this to Lane today. If he can remember the last time he lost a one-on-one. Now, to be fair, I mean, Lane is awesome.
Yes.
But usually in one-on-ones, he takes one rep. He gets the first rep of the drill, and then he takes the rest of the drill off. What are you laughing at?
People say I'm off what analogies.
You doing analogies is like my ex-wife ordering McDonald's.
I don't think I'm off what analogies, but I will wear that, and I will do better with my next analogy. Go
on. So, like, the sample size is not super large because Lane doesn't take that many reps, but I mean, it is definitely notable. Like, I cannot even think of a rep that he has lost in my mind. Now, he said he can remember not a one-on-one rep. There was a play from a couple days ago that Nolan Smith, he overset, and Nolan Smith got inside of him for a would-be sack. And to be fair, Nolan Smith, who, I have been a little bit skeptical of.
More than a little, but yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
He had a very good day today, and he looked good. So that's worth noting. But yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I can think of Lane losing a one-on-one rep, and he could not really remember one either.
That is a good
the answer is I don't know.
Yeah. So a quick Lane Johnson thing. I was watching practice, and of course I was him here, and he was out. He wasn't participating in first team drills, and we've seen this throughout the summer. So I was curious, like, does he take himself out? Is this sports science? Is this Stout saying give Fred Johnson a look? And he said no. He got hurt. He got like stepped on today, his ankle, and that's why
he said he got tabletopped.
I
think that means he got knocked over.
Yeah. So there was a blitz. If this was the play, there was a blitz where they knocked Becton, and Becton knocked Lane. And then Becton seemed to be like favoring his hip thereafter. But he continued practicing. But yeah, so Fred Johnson went in at right tackle for Lane Johnson for like the second half of practice, but Lane said he was fine. From a depth chart perspective on offense, Mekhi Becton remains the first-team right guard. I think we know the direction this is heading. I did ask Nick Sirianni what you brought up yesterday on yesterday's show, which was like they need to get Tyler Steen ready at right tackle. And Nick kind of gave this answer that it's important to be versatile. That is something that both Mekhi and Tyler are going to have to be able to do, play both spots. But we haven't seen that thus far.
We certainly have not. Okay. Another time for a break as we tell you about our friends at Bet365. Okay, Bet365. Ooh, it's not alphabetical on here. That's we got to work on that, guys.
It is.
It's not.
Oh,
look, Buffalo Wild Wings is a BU. BetterHelp is BETT.
Okay.
Bet365 is BET3. That should be ahead of both of those.
You're correct. Yes.
So I can tell you about our friends at Bet365 because they are never ordinary. Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide. Bet365 live streams 780,000 events each year. Early payout offers across the NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB. Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting. And today, Bet365 offers the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe every sport should be epic. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Use the code PHLY365 to sign up. Deposit $10 and claim your offer. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. They've also got great deals on boosts and same-game parlays to help you win even bigger and in less ordinary ways. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up and check out our boosts to see why it's never ordinary. At Bet365, must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Bada bing, bada boom.
And then I want to tell you all about our wonderful friends at TrueMark. Okay,
not False Mike.
Not
True Mark. From right over there.
Well, TrueMark is where Julia went to high. It's headquartered where Julia went to high school in Fort Washington. But the great thing about TrueMark, and in addition to it being a local company, which I enjoy, I was at the barber shop the other day, and there was a TrueMark right by there.
Flex.
They have a terrific home equity line of credit program, HELOC. It allows homeowners to borrow against home equity with a variable interest rate. You can preserve your savings and get access to funds as needed for big renovations, education expenses, or emergencies. Use TrueMark Financial's budgeting tools to save for special purchases like limited edition merchandise. Regular contributions accumulate over time to reach savings goals effectively. Transferring as little as $5 a week gives you $260, more than enough for a Kelly Green jersey. Although there might be other things you want to buy, like a Die Hard membership, for instance. You can do that too. TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal opportunity lender. For more information, visit TrueMark.com/PHLY.
So a little peek inside the curtain here. We are obviously sharing a mic. We're going off one computer. Your laptop. I wonder what's your level of concern or paranoia about having like your laptop up and exposing it to me.
Yeah, my concern is the text messages, honestly. There was a time last year where I was driving EJ Smith to the airport in Dallas. It was like 4:45 a.m. and my Apple CarPlay was up.
And
I got a text message from somebody in the league.
Ooh, a source.
Yes. And
identified by name.
So it's like a text, and it's like, and EJ's in the car, and it's like you don't know what you're supposed to say.
Oh, did he acknowledge it?
Yeah. Well, he didn't acknowledge it until like I later brought it up. I was like, did you see that? I hope it gave me a little more street cred, like, right? Like I don't have to borrow his opinions. I mean, he sees that that was a joke, but no, it is a worrisome.
That's an early text from a source.
Yeah. Well, in the NFL, you get texts early in the morning sometimes because that's when they're going to work or that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
But also it's Central Time, so it was
5:45.
5:45
for Jeffrey. Right.
It wasn't Jeffrey. No, it was someone in a different organization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But EJ knew who the person was.
Okay.
And so so it was kind of like it was very awkward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. I'm interested in the apps that are up here. I mean,
like what?
We've got Slack, we've got Podcast, we've got Chrome, we've got Word, we've got the stocks, obviously. We've got Apple TV. We've got, what is this? The
Apple News.
Oh, Apple News. We got to have Apple News up. We can't just reopen that later. We've got the notes, and then we've got the text messages. 30 unread texts.
Yes, 30 unread texts. I got to get to this. Yeah, I
What's
don't text people back during practice, except M1.
You got 30 texts during practice?
I get a lot of texts.
Like a group thread
there might
type
be a
deal?
chain. I honestly haven't looked yet. But yeah, and there's like you get
Or you're getting like a political spam, like answer this survey
running out to help the Census Bureau.
I got to get back to the census.
Snap pizza, $3 off, things like that. Yeah. So
okay, interesting. And how many are from Jeffrey?
Yeah, get a text from Jeffrey. And yeah,
phone calls only.
I respond to Bo all the time.
Okay.
Well, I have some more from the offense.
Please.
Something through. You mentioned EJ Jenkins. I'm a little late to the EJ Jenkins train here. EJ Jenkins did a good practice. He caught a touchdown. I have this here. EJ. What?
Dean says, Bo, can you type HENT into Zach's search bar and see what autofills?
Yeah, they will not autofill that. That's weird. Okay. So let me just go through here.
EJ Jenkins, you were talking about?
Yeah, I thought EJ Jenkins had a good practice for the down the depth chart tight ends. Like CJ Uzomah in one-on-ones was not creating separation. He's not a separation creator, but that stands out. EJ Jenkins does have a
little bit of shake.
Yeah, he does have some shake. I thought Covey ran some good routes today, and Covey continues to see work with the ones. Now, of course, some of that has to do with Paris Campbell being sidelined, but Britton Covey, I thought right here, Britton Covey, nice route from 7 from Kenny Pickett. So that was not with the ones. 83 over there's a lot of 83s. That's John Ross. 88 incompletion. This was a pass. This was probably a pass Jalen Hurts wants back. I thought
I saw that one. I think like down the seam.
Yes, exactly.
Like floated.
Yeah,
it's not a good pass
to Goddard. So that's one that stuck out. Yeah, you mentioned the deep ball to DeVonta. I didn't think they stretched the defense enough, but I thought when they did, that was the one that stood out. AJ Brown had a really good practice. He was kind of my standout there. I mentioned the lack of running. I did try to focus in on the offensive line some. I thought they were getting pushed back. There was, by the way, the first play of first play of 11-on-11, Cam Jurgens. There was a bad snap to Jalen. And I asked Cam Jurgens yesterday, I think it was 2 days ago. The days float together. I sound like a football player now. About the snapping. He thought the stupidest question in the world, I think. And kind of the origin of it was Jalen always said that Kelsey really had fast snaps. Yeah. And so I said, does Cam need to work on his? Does he adjust his snaps for the quarterback? Is there a preference that the quarterback has? Does it vary the way you snap based on the Nebraska quarterback, or when you did this 2 years ago with who was it then? Was Gardner Minshew was, I guess, who he was snapping to 2 years ago to Jalen Hurts, and he's like, I'm the center, I snap the ball, and but this was interesting though. The first snap though was a bad snap. I
can't remember.
That's the first time this summer I've seen that, so nothing to be concerned about there. I thought Mailata had a good practice. I thought there was. I did think though there was some push. A lot of it had to do with the pressures that the Patriots were sending. They were sending it in different directions. Certainly, Fred Johnson was in there late. There was some pressure from that side. I thought overall at the line of scrimmage, you saw much more adjusting. You saw Jalen Hurts, Landon Dickerson in particular, making adjustments at the line of scrimmage. So I don't know if they had more in today than they typically have, or if it's adjusting to an unfamiliar defense. But
was Cam Jurgens not doing as much of that?
No, Jurgens too.
Okay.
Landon's pretty demonstrative,
yeah,
right? In terms of like he stands up, he stands upright, and he's waving things around.
Okay.
But you saw Jalen making adjustments at the line of scrimmage, and there was a lot of Shipley, and they mixed in Gainwell too. There was a little too much running for my liking today, because running plays, you just can't you can't tell as much because you don't know if it's gonna be broken in a game. When there's not tackling, you can't tell as much on the run.
I mean, you know, if it's Lou Nichols, it's going to be a touchdown.
Lou Nichols got some work as a kick returner, it looked like.
Yeah, he made a bad decision on one point. At one point, it was a ball right in the corner at like the 1 yard line, and he tried to catch it and stay in bounds and fell out of bounds. So not a smart job from Lou, but I don't think that's going to be his job.
He's trying to get he's trying to get as much reps as he can, as many reps as he can.
The
more you can do.
The more you can do.
Interesting. Darian Kennard gave up a sack. And I bring up Darian Kennard because after practice, Lane Johnson said his stock is rising. I asked Kellen Moore about him playing every snap, about Kennard playing it, and Kellen Moore gave a complete non-answer.
What did he say?
He was just like, yeah, things happen over the course of a game. Just like one of those things.
None of them are allowed to happen to Aneem Dankwa.
Yeah, that I was listening to the show with you and Jamie on the way home, and I thought you hit it on the head on the show. Either they don't think he's ready or they're hiding him. Right. Because my guess is they're hiding him. Because they put in guys who they don't think are
yeah,
ready.
I think so. I think it would be less of a concern about him than a concern about McKee. But if he's that bad, they think, then he shouldn't. Like, why is he still here? You know, like I think it's probably more about a hiding.
Yes, exactly. Because look, the Eagles have one joint practice. No one's seeing him play, right? Outside of the Patriots. Yeah. Yeah,
he probably didn't even, do a ton today. So okay.
You asked Jalen about Tanner McKee.
I did, and you asked him about the Olympics. I'm glad you asked him because I wanted to know. And you know what? I was disappointed. You asked him about the Olympics, and do you watch the Olympics? And he brought up track and basketball, which are pretty basic. Well, he doesn't have a Simone Biles connection. The Houston,
yeah, that's true.
What are we doing?
Okay,
how about a little shout out to the GOAT, Jalen? You would think that. He loves goats. She's from Houston. What are we doing?
I'm not going to hold it against Jalen Hurts that he not mentioned Simone Biles, but perhaps he has admiration for Simone Biles. He's in training camp. He might not have watched gymnastics, but I watched the basketball finals. Steph Curry in that was
fun,
incredible, amazing to watch.
Yeah, that was nice.
And then before that,
the semis were fun.
I saw the end of the 4x400. Is that what it's called?
The men's or the women's?
The women's.
Yep. Yeah. They demolished.
It was like a legendary performance. Yeah.
Yes. They set the Olympic record, I believe. And then the men's was awesome too. They won. It was a nice little showdown between Aaron Rye, who's a 400-meter hurdler, and Tabogo, I believe, is the guy who won the gold in the 200. So a little meeting between their two specialties to run a 400 head to head. Aaron Rye took it down. Nice patient lap that he ran.
Should be asking you about the Olympics. You already have.
Should be asking me about softball.
We'll get to that. There were a few more Eagles things I just wanted to ask you. We are now 12 practices in.
When you say ask you, does BJ ask you come to mind?
No. To ask you am I pronouncing that incorrectly?
No, it's not about your pronunciation. It's just when I hear ask you, I'm thinking BJ ask you.
I was self-conscious enough about my pronunciations. Then my wife got on me about our pronunciation recently.
Oh, which one?
It's my Philadelphia accent at play. So the town in Pennsylvania where the Amish live, what would you call it?
Which town?
This one, Lancastr. What would you call it?
Lancaster.
Okay, I say Lancaster. And so
listen, as a consumer of your many interesting pronunciations, that one doesn't.
So that's the accent. That's the A. It's like when I say, like my mom's from Montreal and she says basketball, and I say basketball. Yeah. So when I say Lancaster, like that.
Yeah, that one doesn't bother me.
So
it doesn't even. It's not even quite as notable.
So I say like, oh, the
I wouldn't even be put that in the top 100 of your pronunciations.
I said place on like Lancaster Avenue. Yeah, and then there's this town that way. I assume I've never been there, but I was talking to someone about it. It's called Nantucket. And how would you?
Yeah, that one's bad.
And what'd you say? Nantucket?
Nantucket, yeah.
Okay, and I say Nantucket. I stretch the A.
Yeah, that one's weirder.
Okay, but so you're in my head about the pronunciation. What caused this deviation?
You said there were other Eagles things you wanted to talk about?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So we are 12 practices in, and including a competitive session today, when Jalen Hurts probably took, I got to add it all up, but he probably took over 40 snaps today. Okay. Still has not thrown an interception this game. I know this is something that is like talk radio fodder, but I think this is a real thing. I think it does stand out to me. This is a long sample size, a big sample size, a long period where there has not been a pick. What do you make of it?
I mean, I don't know if it's just the contrarian in me, but it
doesn't do it for you.
It doesn't really do it for me. Okay. I would be more impressed if there were 10 more big plays and 2 interceptions. Like, you know, I think Jalen Hurts has had a good summer. I think he's protected the ball well, but I don't know. Like it's just kind of a footnote to me. I feel like everybody else thinks it's a bigger deal.
Yeah, I think it's a big deal.
Do you think he's going to throw no interceptions all season long?
Obviously, I don't think he's going to throw no interceptions all season long. I think that I think the efficiency with which he's playing with is a positive sign entering the summer.
I think it's good, but like I don't know, maybe that means that he's not throwing it into tighter windows than he could.
They aren't going downfield as much this season. I've said that, and I am curious to see how that translates to the game. I was listening on the ride this morning here to yesterday's show, and we were joking about the Jonathan Gannon pew
yeah, sure.
But explosives is like if you spend any time, I know you know this, I'm telling the audience, if you spend any time around Nick Sirianni and you ask him like what he values most, he'll tell you explosives are like the explosive play differential he thinks is a key indicator to success.
Yeah, he has a very weird formula.
Yeah. I need to imagine that the Eagles are going to throw the ball deep during the season.
Of course.
But
it's also one of the things that Jalen does best.
Yeah, it's not something that they featured in camp this summer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's true. And do you think that it has been notably less so than summers past, throwing the ball downfield?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I do think it's been notably less so, for sure.
I mean, that would not be a good sign to me if that was going to actually be the case. But
yeah,
maybe it's in anticipation of the way the defenses are going to play them.
I mean, I'm still on my mind was EJ's comment. I'm properly crediting about how before the snap it's like Kellen Moore's offense, and after the snap it's like last year, because there is this point that you can dress things up before, but what matters is what you do when you snap the ball, right? Mm-hmm. And so now, as Nick Sirianni will tell you, and there's accuracy to this, there's only so many ways you can run a route, right? There's only so many combinations you can have. That said, I am curious to see how this offense looks different. I think today, like I mentioned, was the most Kellen Moore-ish day of the summer.
There's only so many ways you can lacerate a toe.
There are only so many ways you can lacerate a toe.
Okay.
And there are many ways, though. I want to make this abundantly clear. There are many ways that you can strain a hamstring or a calf.
True.
Yes.
Yeah.
A hamstring. Yeah. There are many ways. So I don't know what
sex
way
being one of them.
I'm not going there, bro.
It's one of the many ways.
I'm saying there are many, many ways that could occur.
Okay.
Yes. It was good seeing Cooper DeJean. I enjoyed speaking to him.
Yeah, it was nice to talk to him.
Yes. Where now he said though that I asked him if he has a lot of ground to make up, and he said he kind of he kind of learned the defense during the spring. And I said, what position did you learn? And he said all three of them.
He said mostly corner and nickel.
But he said he learned all three of them. So yeah. I think you're going to see him at corner and nickel. But this will be interesting to watch. How did Quinyon Mitchell look? Because we need to do.
It was not his best day,
Okay.
and in one-on-ones in particular, he did not do a great job. And then in team drills, he was playing a little bit of mostly nickel with the ones, but then some time on the outside with the twos. He and Ringo both had mediocre days for their level of play this summer, I would say. Okay.
So there's so much that we can still
But all the
unpack
specifics are going to be on allphly.com.
Yes. You asked me about my train ride. This is a busy travel day for you. You came up this morning.
6 a.m. flight.
6 a.m. flight. What's a 6 a.m. flight to Boston like?
Short.
No, I mean, okay. Is it people coming up for work for the day? Is it
I didn't interview everybody on the plane.
You know, they're
it was 6 a.m. I wanted to fall asleep.
You went to sleep on the plane?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I was hurting for sleep. Celebrating the softball championship last night till like 12:30 in the morning.
You teased that a few times. Okay, let's get to it.
Let's get to it.
Well, tell me about the softball championship.
So you play the semis and the finals if you make it the same night. It's a heavy burden to shoulder as the 1 seed. First game against our hated rivals. No love lost between these two teams. We put up a 7 spot with no outs in the first inning, which is the max that you're not allowed to score more than 7 innings or 7 runs in an inning. So with 0 outs, we hit the max in the bottom of the first. Did not look back from there. Took it down, and then immediately after that, we went out and played the I believe it was the 3 seed who had upset the 2 seed. Slightly closer game, but you know what? Didn't really scare us. And what was so good, Zach? All 15 players who were there last night, everybody contributed in some fashion. Big plays in the field, big hits. Shout out to it's appropriate because we're here in New England, and the coach Joe, who is our coach and GM, just like Bill Belichick, also married to a younger woman. Shout out to Joe.
Bill Belichick's not married to a younger
woman. I know he's not, but although he was. I believe he left his first wife for a younger woman, and then
they were not married either. They were partners.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, he's partners with a younger woman. So shout out to Joe. Shout out to everybody.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you said you went out hard last night.
We celebrated, yeah. Got the W.
You weren't like, this is a work night for me.
I got here, didn't I?
So what time did you wake up?
Had a couple Gatorades.
What time did you wake up this morning?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah.
What, and you went
hit a couple Ramalama Hamma Ding Dongs.
What?
Last night. A couple Jackson Pollocks.
I don't know what those are.
Home runs.
Oh. Very nice.
No big deal.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You want to mention that to the crowd. That's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Sucking back with the boys.
Yeah.
That's right. Congratulations. Yes. So
thank you. It was a highlight of the summer.
And so then you went to bed or you slept on the plane?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a 45-minute flight. Okay. I probably slept for 20 minutes on the plane. That wasn't super restful.
Okay.
Got my rental car and drove out to Foxborough. Got myself a breakfast sandwich.
Yeah, I see the McDonald's here. You went McDonald's, huh?
Well, I didn't have many choices, but yeah, okay. I mean, sausage egg McMuffin can't go wrong. And
Kelsey.
Yeah, then I was here. I don't know. I was here at 9 o'clock, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. How was your choo-choo?
Yeah, it was a fine. I mean, it was long. It was like
how was the Wi-Fi?
It was like 5.
We were worried about
it was
that.
5 hours, 20 minutes. Wi-Fi was okay. Yeah, Wi-Fi was okay. It was hard. Just I didn't get as much work done as I wanted to on there.
I feel like that's a pretty consistent thread.
What
that you don't get as much work done as you wanted to because you want to get so much done. It's a bit Sisyphean.
Well, the challenge is I'm the type of writer who I don't like to write in like increments. Like I like to sit down and finish the whole thing there.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's just a lot.
Smoke the whole pack.
I suppose so. But so there's so I was doing a handful of things and I was sending some emails. I was on the phone with the boss. I was on I was FaceTiming my kids before they went to sleep. What's your FaceTime policy on this train?
I would not do it.
Okay, I was very quiet, but I wanted to see the kids before they went to sleep. I didn't get to see them when I left yesterday. So I wanted to see the kids, but the connection wasn't very good. I didn't get a window seat. I'm an aisle seat on.
Ooh.
I'm an aisle seat on planes always.
Yeah.
But trains, I want the window because you get such good vistas on.
The vistas. You can't beat the vistas.
Yeah, you get like when you're going through Connecticut, it's beautiful there. Yeah. So, but the highlight of the train ride is always Boathouse Row.
That's the highlight
On the right hand side. Yeah, it's beautiful. Boathouse Row. It's
but you can see that just driving in.
Okay, but I'm just saying I'm not going to give Connecticut more credit than the Schuylkill.
That is an incredibly Zach Berman thing to say.
And then I got to the hotel. Didn't have dinner last night.
You didn't have dinner?
I did not have dinner. And I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in my bag that I ate on the train. But that was that's what I ate.
You don't have to starve yourself, man.
It's fine.
Don't be a martyr.
I am curious from a hotel perspective. I'm just curious
Okay.
this year. This is the one non-football thing I will ask you. Do you prefer
BJ, ask you.
Do you prefer a shower or the shower tub?
A shower.
Yes, I agree.
100%.
Yes.
Of course.
And a lot of these hotels now have converted to the showers, which I like. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like taking a bath. I'm just saying the shower tub.
Yeah. Nobody wants that.
Yeah. I'm in a room with a shower tub. I don't want to ask to change the room. I mean, I don't love the shower tub situation.
You think that that's just your room? You think it's not universal throughout the hotel?
Yeah, it's just it's not the only room. There's some rooms that have the shower tub and some rooms that don't. I actually went onto the website last night to look and see if they were all like this. And interestingly, they were charging more money for the shower tub room. I just got the standard room, but I guess they upgraded me to the shower tub.
Well, I imagine the shower tub is for maybe families, right? Because then the kids can take a bath.
Yeah. So I wanted to, but I didn't want to go down and change the room at that point. But I prefer the shower. Number one, and then we've had this conversation before. My pet peeve, and look, I believe in like saving the environment. I care about the environment. Okay, I'm all for that. Don't take this
is an interesting butt coming.
Okay, I like the individual shampoo and soap and conditioner that they used to get.
It's weird to think about all the people who are using
shampoo. Yeah, exactly. I don't like this move to the dispenser, and I mean, unless it's a cost saving thing, but they use the environment as like the excuse for it. I would much rather like let's save in other ways and give me the individual.
Then why not just bring your own?
That's what I should start doing, probably. Yeah.
BYO.
Yes.
I do love the you are very particular about your hotel rooms, and like you will do so much research about like what the rooms are like.
Yeah.
And you are, as you've said, you are willing to ask for a room change, which is a wild thing.
Under the right circumstances, like not just if there's a I don't like to be near the elevator.
Yes.
Okay. So if I get one that's right next to the elevator, I'll go down and I'll ask to switch that. But I won't just do it for the sake of it. There has to be a valid reason.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, so the shower tub.
You're gonna try to. Well, I mean, you're staying there a couple more nights. You could have asked for a room change this morning.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm just gonna roll with it at this point.
I think you should take a bath.
Definitely not taking a bath. I've been taking a bath since I was like 4 years old. I'm not taking a bath.
You haven't taken one since you were 4 years old?
Yes. I would say maybe 3 or 2.
Wow.
Yeah. I wasn't a bath kid growing up, and I can't remember the last time I took a bath.
Okay.
Are you a bather?
Not really.
It's like you're in your own
at
filth.
some point in my life, I have taken a bath. Well, you can do like clean and then take a bath as a relaxing thing, not as a cleaning activity.
No, I'm not a bath. I'm not a bath guy. I wouldn't know. Yeah, I'm not a bath guy.
God. Hates it.
We're all the way up here. Wait. What'd you say? Basic?
I didn't say anything. I said, gosh.
Oh, okay.
Not a bath guy.
Yeah, not a bath guy. I feel like we're an hour and 10 minutes into this, but we're up here in New England. Is there anything else the chat wants to know about practice today?
Okay, yeah. Here's the question for you. Eagles PR comes to you.
Yeah.
And says, Jeffrey Lurie is willing to sit down with you for 25 minutes for the topic of your choosing.
Yeah.
In order to do that, you have to either take a bath or pee sitting down. Which one would you do?
Take a bath.
Really?
No.
Really?
No. I said I would. I would pee sitting down. I would pee sitting down. Yeah. I mean, pee sitting down is quick, right? You'd knock it out. Yeah. I would definitely pee sitting down before I take a bath. Sorry. But it actually depends.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
let's hear.
I would only pee sitting down in my own domain. Like, I would sooner take a bath than pee sitting down in a public bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about a non-public bathroom, but not your bathroom? Let's say Jeffrey's bathroom.
No, and what's the bath? Any like a hotel bath?
Yeah, it's a hotel bath.
I'm probably still pee sit down in like a private bathroom, but never in like definitely not public bathroom. That's disgusting.
Yeah, no, you're very. I mean, listen, nobody likes a public bathroom.
No, I'm very.
But you are extremely.
Extreme.
Like,
I'll tell you. I don't use stalls, ever really.
Ever.
Yeah, I mean.
That you're never caught in a bad situation.
Nah, I'm usually pretty good about that. Yeah. I mean, and if it
regular,
and if it has to be, it's like I'm scouting like a hotel lobby or something like that.
That's the move. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like if but never just
not even with the cover.
No, like never in an office bathroom, never anything like that. Never. Yeah. Never. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Never.
Is it a phobia?
It's just a preference, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's fun to continue to peel back these layers. All right. So the most important day of the summer for the Eagles, we have learned a lot about Zach today.
But I said I want to know what the chat wants to know about practice. Poor Joya, she's not feeling well back home. Like, is there anything from practice you want to know before we do our notes?
Anything Julia got sick? Probably using a public bathroom.
I wouldn't say that. She's sick because it's going around, right?
Yes.
Claire, that was not my anniversary. Okay. People misconstrued that post. I put a post on Instagram. I meant I've been going. This is my first road trip of the year. I've been going away for every year, and my wife handles things very well. So I put an Instagram post. I was out to dinner, actually at a restaurant where I was 10 years ago before the Eagles Patriots by coincidence, and before the Eagles Patriots joined practice. And there was an Eagles assistant coach who was at that practice.
Is the Shermer interaction?
Yeah, Pat Shermer. Okay. And he came over and he said hello, and he was very kind. And his and my wife now, my girlfriend at the time, Emily, says to me, says to Pat, "Why does Zach need to go away for a week?" Right? Like she didn't understand. And so I made the joke on there that 10 years later, I'm married, 2 kids. I've covered football since the day I met her. Like, this is the only job that I've worked at different places, but she still doesn't understand what I'm doing here for 4 nights. Like, it befuddles her. Wait, the game's on Thursday. And I was like, but they're practicing on Tuesday. All right, so what do you do Wednesday?
Good question.
Yeah. So anyways, so I put that post up, but I guess it got interpreted as like an anniversary thing. It was more an appreciation for my wife for when I travel like this week, and she handles everything. You
also, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Emily is a big Instagram poster.
Yes.
So it would not be your nature to otherwise post this, but you do feel like to throw her a bone, you have to sort of keep up in some capacity.
There are times she's the most amazing wife. Okay. The most amazing. I'll say that. But there have been times, hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, where she's like, it would be nice if you posted something from this dinner. Right. And so then, or like, it'd be nice if you posted something on this occasion or something like that. Okay. All right. But I have to put my own spin on it. But then it got interpreted as an anniversary post. Not an anniversary, just 10 years since the Eagles came up here to this stadium. And we happen to be at the same restaurant.
Well, happy anniversary of that.
Happy anniversary of that. Yep.
All right. That'll do it for this episode of the PHLY Eagles podcast. We will be back tomorrow at 2:00. We'll find out what Zach did with his Wednesday.
I'm doing a show. And I'm going to a college campus tomorrow. That's what I'm doing. I got a buddy, Jake, who he works at Brown, and tomorrow morning early, I'm going to go check out, Brown's facilities, and
but
not their bathroom facilities. No.
Although that would probably not be the worst.
And then we have a show, and I have some other stuff that I want to do here, like writing wise, work wise. The good thing when you're away from the kids, you can kind of focus on work. And then Thursday, I have a little bit of downtime Thursday morning.
Okay. And once again, allphly.com. Coming up in a little bit, we will have our full notes of what we saw more specifically from today's practice beyond the big picture stuff. But that'll do it for this episode. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 2:00. Thank you, Julia. Make sure that you are, everybody, rating, reviewing, subscribing, thumbs up on the video, all that good stuff. We'll talk to you tomorrow. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.